In this video, I'm going to be explaining how to manage design work inside of Monday.com. I'll be going over how to use creative requests, manage your digital assets, and also manage the design projects as well. And this can be used internally if you are upgrading, let's say, your business or developing an app, or it can be used externally if you are helping businesses with their design work. Welcome to CRM Crew. My name is Nick. Just before we get into the video, if you are signing up to Monday.com for the first time, it would be greatly appreciated if you could use my link below. It really does help the channel out. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So once you log into Monday.com, of course, you'll come to the home screen. Now, in order to manage your creative requests, your digital assets and things like that and your projects, what we want to do is go to the top left-hand corner and we want to go to workspaces. Now, there's a really good board template that I'm going to walk you through in this video. I think it's really valuable, and then I'm going to suggest some changes as well, like I said at the start of this video. So press the add button, go to choose from templates, and then we want to search in the top left-hand corner, just search creative. And you can see here we have creative assets. Now this is the one we want to be using. Go ahead and press the use button. It may take a moment or two to load. It does tend to take a little while as there are 3 boards. So go ahead and wait for that to load up. So as you can see, our creative assets board or template has now loaded up, and we have got the 3 templates underneath. We've got digital asset management, we have got creative requests, and website homepage redesign, which is essentially a project. You can relabel this for any project that you are doing. Now, the first thing I'm going to recommend doing is moving creative requests above digital asset management. Now, the reason I suggest doing this is because if you actually follow the flow, it makes sense for creative requests to go first and then into digital asset management, and then I assume you would then apply them to the project. So firstly, let me go ahead, let's go to creative requests, and I will walk you through what these are. So essentially what this allows us to do is get requests for designs, for ideas. As you can see, there are a few examples here. We've got creative for blog, update company presentation, creative for social campaign, cable, logo recreation. We've got all of these different options here. So these requests come in, and the way that these requests usually come in are through the form. So someone fills out a form, they add in the information that's relevant, and then it gets added to our digital or our creative requests area, and it comes into the new requests. So this is actually, in fact, and the whole of creative assets is set up for an external, like an agency, so a design agency working with people or companies to do some of their design. But I also think this would be very suitable for anyone looking to use this internally as well. Now, the big differentiator between those is the account. You can remove it if you like, just use the drop down menu and press the delete button if you are working internally, and then you can use the forms with your team within the business to submit creative ideas if you'd like to. So we've got our new requests here. As you can see, that's the name, requested by, so who made the request. We've got date requested, so when did they make the request? Clearly in 1996. I didn't know Monday.com was around then, but clearly it was. And then we've got account, which I said you can remove if you'd like to. And then we've got the department. So what department is this creative request for? So if you think about this internally, like the IT team may request something for an application that they're building. They might put in a creative request for an app or a software that they're developing, anything along those lines. And then they can select the priority. So is it medium, high or low? And then they can select the deadline. So when is the deadline for this particular creative request due? And then we've got the channel. So we've got social, website, and you can see app, mobile. So if they're doing any development, things like that. And we also have platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, Google, MailChimp, YouTube, Pinterest. So it could be either one of these. It could be maybe an app, which obviously doesn't apply to platform, or it could be platform-based creative requests. And then moving on from there, we have our brief. So obviously the creative request brief, actually detailing what it is that is required. I like this. You've got the inspiration as well, so you can link anything that has been of inspiration that would be a good way to look at that particular request, look at the project. And then we have email, so this allows you to track who to get in touch with regards to the request. And then we've got status, has it been approved, pending, or has it been declined? Now finally, we then can connect digital assets to our creative requests, which in my opinion is the second stage of this. Now, I don't know if I would actually have an approved area, or I would actually just transfer the request into a digital asset using a button. I like the way it's linked, so that is definitely an option. Down here, as you can see, connect digital asset, you can see the progress as well. But it's up to you. If this was managed internally, I suppose it would be different from it being managed externally. So you need to think about that from a business process perspective. But either way, everything comes in through the creative requests, and then we will head over to the digital asset management. Now, before I move on or continue talking about this, the digital asset management is again set up externally, but is definitely applicable internal. Obviously, you'd have your company logo and the different company logo designs, welcome video, website, launch video for the website, images that people might be using. So there's definitely a takeaway for both internal and external use. Obviously, I'm sure you can see why you'd use this externally as well. So firstly, we've got the actual asset name. So obviously the company logo. We can assign an owner, so who is responsible for this particular asset. And then we have the progress. Now, I will come back to the progress as it links directly to a few columns later on in this particular board. So I'll come back to that. We have stakeholders, so who is a stakeholder of this asset. And we've got a deadline, so when does it need to be completed as well. Or it could already have been completed. So moving on from there, we have the account. So this again can just be removed if this is being managed internally for all your assets. And I think this is a great way of doing it, to be honest. It's so simple. And you'll see as I go through the board that you've got loads of different options. So you can manage it internally or obviously externally. We've then got department. So for what department is this particular asset for? So it could be product, you could have marketing, like I said, software or applications. That could be the IT team. And then we got channel as well, so social, website, app or mobile. And then we have platform, so Facebook, Instagram. So you can select any one of those. If it's applicable for only one or multiple, it's entirely up to you. And then we have specifications. So this is just the dimensions of the logo, or if it's a video, you've got HD, 360 view, 4K, things like that. And then this here, the drafts, is what relates back to our progress area. So as you can see here, we've got first draft. So has that been done, working on it or stuck? And then we can add the first draft file. So I think this is really clever. It makes it so easy to manage all of the assets. We've also got the first draft link as well. So we can just add a link if you've not uploaded it or you don't want to upload it. And then moving on from there, we have got iterations with stakeholder. So whoever has made the request or is responsible for the digital asset, not making and designing it, like at the start it was the stakeholders, then you can select here and you'll see stuck, version 1, version 2, version 3, no need, and you can manage the status for each of these assets. So it's very useful, and when this is marked as done, then the progress is updated from whichever percent to 100%. And you can see here we've got the status approved, pending or declined. And then once you have completed all the iterations and the stakeholder is happy with the design of the asset, you can then either upload the final version or you can provide a link. You can also note when it was last updated, who it was updated by, and then you can set the usage rights. So this, again, the usage rights is more for external. And there may be use cases for someone managing their digital assets internally, but it's entirely up to you. If you want to keep it, you can just delete that as well. And then finally, you can see here, this connects directly back to the creative requests. Whether you want to do this or not, it's up to you. I thought that actually having a button on the creative requests, to select the button, then it transfers to a digital asset may be better. It's entirely up to you how you'd want to manage that. You can also obviously add additional columns to track additional fields. I think, in my opinion anyway, that the information that we actually are tracking here is really useful. I can't think of anything additional that I would manage or I would look to add. And as you can see, we've got, like I said, a breakdown of all the different types of assets. Now at the top here, we've got team workload. Unfortunately, I'm on the free version, so I won't have access to this. And then you have collaborative whiteboard, which you can use. You've got online docs, and you've got the files view as well, so you can see any files so essentially these will be all of the digital assets, if you've uploaded them, like you could see for the final draft. So hopefully the digital asset management board would be of use to you. Moving on from here, we've got the website homepage redesign. So this is just an example name that this board has been given. I would change it to whatever project you are managing. It is literally designed to, or it has been built for a creative project of some description. And you can see here you have prep work, kickoff, content, responsive design, and then the launch as well. And you've got each of these different stages and then all of the columns to manage it. So we've got owner, so who is responsible for this particular task or job or what needs to be done. We've got the status, we have the deadline, when does it need to be done by, the estimated, I like this, the estimated time, the actual time, and the difference between the actual time and the estimated time, which is really not a good difference, not a positive difference. We also then have files and links, and we can link directly to the digital asset that is being used for this particular project. So again, this can be used internally. Let's say you are doing a website redesign, you can manage all of this internally, and you could also bring someone else on board onto this particular board that is external, so they can look at all things that need to be done. Or this could be used for external. So if you're doing a redesign for a company and you're an agency, then you can manage all the information here. Now, I do think that this is slightly more limited in terms of columns and things like that. I think you could probably add a lot more information. Go to the end, just go to add columns. I think there's value in adding more information here. There's more information to be tracked per thing that needs to be done. And also you could probably have a status of prep work, kickoff, content, responsive design and launch, so it moves from the different stages more seamlessly. But again, that is up to you. At the top here, we've got calendar view, team workload and file view as well. I don't have access to these two. And then file view is just any files. But obviously you can see why this would be very, very easy to just kickstart managing a project. Let's say you're developing an app internally and you want to obviously manage all the digital assets that are going into the app, and people have got loads of creative request ideas that they want to put forward internally for the app, then that can be done, or obviously externally as well if you're doing a redesign for someone else. So this is the creative assets area inside of Monday.com. Hopefully my explanation has been of value to you. You've got a good insight into what it is, how it could work for your business, and I will see you in a moment's time. Hopefully you're now all set to manage any design work inside of Monday.com. You can easily manage any creative requests. You can go over all of your digital assets and improve them over time, and also any design projects you're working on, whether that be internal, external, can be easily done. If you have enjoyed the video or found it at all useful, please consider giving it a like, possibly even subscribing. If you have any further questions at all, you are more than welcome to drop a comment below, or you can email me, as my details are in the description below, and I will do my best to answer any questions you do have. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you shortly in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.